Higgins.
They really are up for it, these boys.
And they're off. The doors to the fair are thrown open, and it's every man, woman and dealer for themselves. Time for our treasure hunters to unveil their expert plans of attack.
If you want to be successful at a fair like this, you've got to have a really good plan. And I don't, and that'll tell you something.
Right then. Winging it, are we, Phil?
I mean, I don't, I just sort of wander around, really. I'm in a complete world of my own.
Right. Maybe our vixen of the vintage will have a more concrete strategy, or even a strategy at that.
I think the way to make sense of all of this is to take a notebook and, a bit like your shopping list, write down things that you like, and then you'll remember where they are, and you'll be able to go back to them if you're not actually going to buy them immediately. And I'm just making little notes in my little green book.
Well, that's a novel approach from our rummaging redhead. And who doesn't love a good shopping list?
I'm sort of thinking I should be stopping looking at things, so I'm going to stop and look at something. All very sparkly over here, isn't it?
Yes.
It's pretty, isn't it? You've just got to go through each of the boxes. I could be here for days.
This is all very thorough, but is window shopping really the way forward?
I'm just going to basically look in detail at everything, and eventually, in about 6 hours, I might commit to buying one thing. But actually, I've just been told it finishes around midday, so I've not got very much time. I better get started.
Yes, more buy, less browse, maybe. On the other side of the market, the fox has stumbled upon his first potential treasure.
They're lovely. How much are they?
85 on them.
How much?
85.
Go on, mate, 50 quid.
Look the difference, 55 in the yours.
Can I toss you for it?
Yeah, toss me for it. Ads, each 55.
You ready, Fizz? Get in! Tails, catching.
Oh, he's a wily one, and at £50, that's buy one in the back of the net for Striker Cyril.
I would think these are probably 50s, might be a little bit earlier. But what's interesting about them, there's no nylon or aluminium studs. These are leather studs that you had to nail into the sole. This is retro or vintage at its best. And the place for these, I think, is in a really cool retro or vintage clothing shop window. Look at those.
So the fox is dabbling with a spot of retro vintage, treading on Catherine's territory, it seems. Speaking of which, where is our browsing beauty?
Just perusing, just looking. I don't think it's the sort of place that you have to buy immediately. I reckon that if I see something and I go back to it, I think it'll still be there. You're going to watch it for me anyway, aren't you? So, you know, it's going to be fine.
Yes, just don't forget the lunchtime deadline. Across the market, the fox is already on the prowl for his second potential profit, an unusual metal funnel.
Excuse me, how much is that, please?
45, if that's any good for you.
OK, we'll have a think about it. I might come back in a minute.
No worries.
If it's here.
The mystery object has caused hesitation from Mr. Cyril. Maybe the browsing bug is catching. A few stalls away, it seems something has finally caught the eye of our mistress of miscellanea.
Perfect. This is exactly what I like doing. I feel this need to reunite these images with the setting which is depicted in the etching. Oh, it's really nice. It's signed by the artist. It's 1949. What I'm looking at here are two etchings of local pubs. What I'd love to do is take a trip to the Hatchet Inn and to the George Inn and give them back a piece of their heritage. Hello, are these yours?
Yeah, they are. £10 for both.
Oh.
£8 and you can have them.
Can I? OK. £8 is,
all right?
yeah, £8 is good. Yeah, can I shake on that?
Yeah.
Last of the big spenders here.
Yes, she's off the starting grid at last, and it appears the fox's ears have pricked up at the sound of a sale.
You spend money?
Do you know what? He wouldn't give them to me for free, but I've spent £8. Yes.
Cheapskate.
I am the last of the big spenders, after all.
Well, she may be frugal, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to the big P, profit. Having finished heckling the opposition, the fox scampers back over to try and bag that metal funnel.
What did you say your best was?
45.
Thought he's not going to buy it.
No.
There was a bit of doubt there, wasn't there?
Well, it
There was a bit of doubt there.
kind of owes me that much money.
If you want to sell
Crashing.
it, 40 quid's yours.
Go on then, 40 quid.
And there's Phil's happy face.
What am I going to do with it?
Well, wax lyrically in front of the camera.
I'm sure he will. But what is it?
It's a 1950s speaker. There is no self-respecting garden show or local church fete that wouldn't have had one of these on the top of the organiser's roof in about 1955. I bet you're sitting at home thinking, what on earth has he bought that for? You know what? You can make this into a garden feature. You can make it into a light. You can put a speaker in there for your latest smartphone. This has everything going for it.
So Phil's £40 funnel puts him in the lead with 2 buys to Catherine's 1. But our foraging fashionista is on the hunt for some vintage chic.
This is one of those things that you have to look at in detail and admire very fondly, because smocking, which this little child's dress is made from, is incredibly difficult to do. A very nice little dress. I'm not sure it's definitely worth buying at the moment. But bizarrely, I'm moving from the period to the more contemporary. I'm very interested in that. I think that is de rigueur for anyone who enjoys a bit of burlesque in their life. I'm in a bit of a dilemma as to which to go for, whether to go for the child's dress or to go for the sensational burlesque outfit. What would you like to see?
Well, as you ask.
OK, it's burlesque, isn't it? What do you want for it?
Well, it's emu, I'm told. 25.
Just wondering if I could have it any less for sort of...
I'd do 20 on it.
OK, £20.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to watch that shimmy fairly soon.
Oh, risque. That's purchase number 2 for the great one. And talking of risque...
Often, you go to these stands and you pick things up and you just don't know what they're for.
Is our Foxy having a Madonna moment? He's taken quite a shine to it.
What's the best you can do that for? 15, 1-5. Oh, done, I've got to have that, haven't I? 15 quid. What a gentleman. Thank you very much indeed.
So our speedy spender is now the proud owner of a, what is it?
I've always been mesmerised by a lovely pair of Art Deco shop display stands. I'm not sure they're Art Deco. I think they're probably more likely to be 60s. And I think at some point or other, they've had a banner sign across there that may have been the make of the bra that they were trying to sell. I just think it's a cool, fun thing, this. You know what? I can see somebody buying that, well, to hang their...
Don't get your knickers in a twist, Phil. The word you're looking for is bra. Now, whilst Phil's getting in touch with his feminine side, Catherine's bagged herself an interesting weather vane.
I've just bought this. Stella was a little bit camera shy. It really caught my eye because as a child, I grew up watching many a bowling match in Guildford, which was my hometown. It's an iron weather vane that's actually enamelled over the top. 20th century, and the enamelling has deteriorated a little bit. Originally, the asking price was £40, and we've ended up on £30. So, I mean, for a piece of rural history and sporting history and quintessentially British history, that's not a bad price.
Well, she may have taken her time at the start, but with that buy under her belt, Catherine has gained ground and is hounding her rival with 3 buys each. But what about that kitty? They each arrived with £750 of their own money. Phil has spent £105 on his 3 deals, leaving himself a chunky £645 to play with. But ever-thrifty Catherine has kept a tight grip on the purse strings, spending just £58 on her 3 items, so she has a whopping £692 left to spend. But before their buying bonanza continues, it's time for a quick pit stop.
How are you, lovely? All right?
Well, I think I've done 3 stalls by now.
One question.
OK.
How much have you spent?
I've spent definitely under £100, possibly under 50.
You see, the budget for today is £750, not £75.
Yeah, but it's what you buy. It's the quality that you buy. Now, what have you bought that's fascinating?
Quality.
Really?
I bought a couple of things. I think you might just like them.
You've strayed into my territory.
I have. There's a duck in a moment.
I'm perplexed.
Yes, Foxy knows how to ruffle the great one's feathers. And it seems her thrifty spending is playing on her mind as she ponders on what her opponent has been buying.
Well, Phil sounded like he's bought some interesting things because he's crossed the boundaries. He's come into my territory. I haven't bought anything Boise. I'm not quite sure whether I should be straying into his territory, actually.
The fox has bowled her a curveball and our great lady seems all of a dither.
Generally, I'd say I get quite sidetracked. Women? I think those words were on my school report at one point. Distracted, easily distracted, they said. Yep, here I am, easily distracted.
Surely Katherine hasn't lost her focus.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility. That is a possibility. Right, OK. Just hang on there with me. I will buy something soon. You've just got to wait. Be patient.
Yes, we've got all the time in the world. Or not. At least her opponent's going full steam ahead to find buy number 4, a pair of Railway Spotters guidebooks.
Are they complete? Could you hold on to those just for 5 minutes for me, please?
The More Than Maestro has a plan up his sleeve. He's straight on the phone.
Richard, it's Philip Serrell. I got it in my mind somewhere that you were a bit of a railway buff.
Lining up a buyer before he's even bought them. A super sly move from the fox.
How much have you got them priced up at? 12. What can you do them for?
I can do them for
A fiver? What a gentleman. What an absolute gentleman. Get me money out quick.
Well, he didn't hang around and that's Phil's 4th buy done and dusted for just a fiver.
Railway memorabilia is a big area of collectability, and the earlier the better. Now, these are 70 years old, really evocative of their period. I can only think of Agatha Christie, but, you know, these, I suppose, were originally train spotters' pocket handbooks. I think they're great things. I bought them for £5, and I've got a feeling when I come to sell these, it might just take me on a bit of a journey.
Ah, he's thinking steam trains, Agatha Christie. You can just see Phil as Poirot. But it seems with that £5 buy in the bag, Phil is channeling someone far more frugal. Albert Steptoe.
Excuse me, sir, how much are these? How much is that?
280.
No, I haven't got anything like that. How much is that, please? Can it be any less than a fiver? How much are those? £2.50. I can give you £2 for them. How much is your poster, please?
Skimping Serrell, who'd have thought it? And nearby, the Queen of Cheap herself has just netted a £5 buy too.
I've just bought these lovely linen and cotton tablecloths and napkins, thinking I'm ready for a cup of tea with these, really. They are really lovely pieces of craftsmanship, for one thing. Complicated, cross-stitch, coupled with pulled thread detailing. And they're also a nice bit of social history. There's one that I've got here, which has actually got the name of the people that owned it. And I think they will go to somebody who appreciates vintage as much as I do.
So our determined duo are neck and neck again with 4 buys each. But this morning's market is already beginning to pack up, so the race is on to find the final treasures.
Everybody else here is rushing around, and I just seem to be meandering gently.
Gosh, he's so laid back, he's horizontal. With the clock ticking, Catherine the Great decides to hunt down her earlier shopping list spots. But there's a problem.
The only downside is I didn't put down where I saw everything, so I'm slightly, it's not terribly helpful. But hey-ho, you know, it's quietening down and nobody's started to pack up yet. Or have they?
Yes, they have, Miss Higgins. It seems there's a flaw in your plan. However, the man with no plan seems to be sauntering towards his final buy of the day, and they've got a hefty price tag.
We have got a set of Edwardian bowls, basically 4 pairs.
I've got a one-off deal, one-off offer. I've got 80 quid. That's it, me finished.
Yeah, go on, that'll work.
OK, good man. Thank you very much.
So Phil uses his foxy wiles to secure a quick end-of-fair discount.
I expect you're thinking this is a load of bowls. Well, it sort of is, really. Well, it's a box of bowls. They're 19th century, made out of lignum vitae. Lignum vitae is typified by this light and dark, and it's very, very dense timber. Doesn't float. Who am I going to sell them to? Well, you know, there's a decorative angle there that I could perhaps sell them to someone who's going to use them. But either way, I really like them. They're my sort of lot, really. Pity I've got to sell them, really.
Well, those are the rules, Mr. Serrell. So that's our gutsy gavel swinger's priciest purchase. And with that, he's done for the day. All eyes now are on Katherine.
This is the most desperate moment because I'm been kind of running backwards to get to the stall because people's lights are going on. They aren't literally packing up. Right, over here somewhere.
Our Red Queen relies on her internal antiques homing instinct to draw her back to the treasure. And it seems she's straying into Phil's territory after all, with some vintage fuel cans.
I suppose my favourite would be this one.
Okay.
What sort of price are you thinking of that for?
£12.
Can we go for a bit less than that? Can we go for maybe, I don't know, 7 or...
10?
Oh, it hasn't got a lid. 8.
8. All right.
8 because it hasn't got a lid. Yeah.
It's another cheap and cheerful buy for Higgins the haggler.
It is simply a fuel can, but what's quite nice, it's got the mark of the brand on it. I think it's definitely a post-war piece. You forget that it was sort of de rigueur to carry something like this because fuel tank size was much smaller in older cars, and I've got an old Triumph, which, you know, I have to carry something like this just in case I run out of fuel. So today, they're great interiors pieces. It would look great in someone's home, or office, or bathroom, or anywhere, really.
Let's hope she's not running on empty when it comes to the profits. And with that, it's time to wave the checkered flag on this Antiques Grand Prix. Phil and Katherine each arrived at Donington with a budget of £750. Foxy sniffed out 5 potential profit makers and spent £190. But Katherine kept her costs on the down low, spending just £71 on her 5 items. Before they head home with their treasures, there's time to check out the competition.
Do you know what? There's a sense of symmetry here, isn't there?
There
Bowling,
is.
bowling.
Yeah, great minds think alike.
I wouldn't go that far. How much? I love that. How much was that?
It was quite a good buy, I must
Wicked,
say. All
wicked,
of £30 that
wicked.
you have duplicated with yours.
I know.
How much do you pay?
80 quid. You'd think when they set this up, the cleaners had got rid of all this old tat, wouldn't you?
Real great craftsmanship in that. Fantastic
that's all yours?
tableware. Really nice linen tableware.
Really?
Yeah. Now, what else do I like here? I can imagine being a little boy with that GWR book.
They're fun, aren't they?
Spotting. Yeah.
They're really fun.
Really
and
nice.
of a period. And so, just one question for you. How much have you spent?
Well, probably around about 70.
My one lot has cost more than all of yours. Get out of here.
Battle-weary and laden with booty, our duo head home. But there's no time to put their feet up, as the pressure is about to really pile on as they undertake the gargantuan challenge of selling all their items. They must hunt down all the right buyers and deploy their hardest haggling skills in a quest to make the most profit. Back at his auction house, Phil is assessing his weapons of war.
That was a really good little antique fair for me. It wasn't the biggest I've ever been to, but if you look, there were some interesting things there. These 2 little railway books. You went train spotting in the 40s and 50s, and every time you saw a locomotive that you hadn't seen before, you ticked it off in your little book. That's a great piece of social history, and it's cost me a £5. But I think that's going to take me on a bigger journey yet. However, quite why I bought that, I don't know. I still think it would make a very cool thing. And over there, I think I'm missing some ends off the things in there. I'm not quite sure how that's going to affect their saleability, but I still think they're a great lot for somebody who's got a vintage shop. My bowls, there's a plan ahead for those, but my favourite lot's got to be these footy boots. Now, I am not quite as old as those, but can you imagine playing football in those? I'd like to see Mr. Beckham in those.
So, while Phil tracks down a vintage-loving sportsman down in Surrey, Katherine's making sure her treasures shine.
Now, a real top tip, if you want to make your items really sell well, then make sure they look their best. So, a little spot of cleaning. Here I am, busying myself, cleaning the glass up on these great pictures. I'm really pleased with these pictures. I'm going to make some social history by reuniting them with the pubs where they should quite rightfully be. So that's lovely. And I can feel a bit of shimmying coming on with my burlesque-style boa scarf. So that's going to be quite fun to work with. What amazed me is I've already spoken to somebody about the oil can, my last-minute purchase, and it is going to be transformed in a way you are never possibly going to imagine. So I'm really excited about that. My linen, oh, it's going to be lovely. And the only thing that's worrying me is the bowling. I'm not a great bowling specialist. And the one call I have made was to somebody who said, oh, we've just had a new bowls club built. It's great. We're really excited. And I said, have you got a weather vane? And they said, yes, we've just bought one. I wish we'd known about yours.
Well, it's back to the drawing board on that one, then. It's all about the cold, hard cash now, and our brave profiteers waste no time getting straight on the road. Any money they make will go to their chosen charities, and remember, until they shake on it and the money changes hands, no deal is ever sealed. For his first sale, Phil is heading to his local bowls centre in Pershore. They're one of only a handful of official testers for the World Bowls Board, no less. But will his antique bowls make the grade?
Maurice, I bought you some bowls, and you are the local expert on bowls, but there's two types of bowls, isn't there?
Level green and crown green, yes.
So one's flat, and the other's got a bit of a dome in the middle.
That's right.
And all bowls have a bias.
Yes.
They sort of go in a separate shape, is that right?
Absolutely right, yes.
You're going to tell me what I've got?
Oh, these are old.
How old do you think they might be?
150 years plus.
Somewhere between 1840 and 1860?
I should imagine so, yes.
Will these get used today?
No.
Why is that? Does no one play crown green, or do they...
These are not crown green or level bowls. They're lawn bowls. They were used on a rough and ready lawn.
But what I love about them is this is lignum, isn't it?
Yes.
You've got that wonderful light and dark, haven't you?
That's right. But there's a bit of renovation work, the polishing up. It'll be a talking point within the shop.
It's at this point we need to discuss whether you'd like to buy them off me or not.
Well, I will buy them off you.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get close to 200 quid for them. Hoping.
No, I've got a set of these in the shop.
Yeah.
I've given a pair of trousers for. You don't want a pair of trousers, do you?
Well, it depends how good they are. And there'll be a lot of cloth in them. Go on then, what's your best?
I'll go 150.
And you're happy with that?
I'm happy with that.
Well, if you're happy, I'm happy, and I'll shake your hand. You're a gentleman. Thank you very much,
Phil.
So the fox kicks off his profit pot with £70 and can't resist trying out his own bowls on the testing equipment.
So this machine tests the bias, really?
Yes.
Right, let's have a go then. Let's just see what happens. Look at that.
There you go.
Look at that. It's gone straight round the end bend at the bottom, look. Is that good or bad?
It was probably very good from when they were made.
I'm pleased because they're yours. You take care, Maurice. Good
Thank
to
you
see
very
you.
much.
While Phil hotfoots it back to Cyril HQ, his opponent is hoping to get her selling spree underway with that vintage oil can.
I've come to Chesterfield in Derbyshire to meet a man called Matt, who is a very creative designer. He loves to upcycle and is brilliant at turning oil cans like this into things you could never even dream of. I hope he wants to buy mine, and he likes it.
It cost Katherine just £8, but can she turn a profit?
Matt, this is definitely the right place for this oil can. You can turn anything into something else very creatively.
Thank you very much. It's nice to sort of keep the life going of something that otherwise would be discarded.
So what I brought you is this.
Yeah,
And I sort of felt a sense of guilt about bringing it to you because it didn't have a lid and it's a bit rough and ready around the edges. Dating-wise, it's difficult to say, but
yeah,
it's certainly 50 years old plus.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
so,
absolutely, yeah. That's fine.
So what will you do to this?
We're actually going to turn it into an MP3 dock. We'll seal this in with a clear sealer. We'll then cut the holes in for the speakers and we'll fit the modern style MP3 and turn it into a player.
Well, price-wise, I'm hovering around about maybe the £20 mark. That's what's in my mind.
I think £20, I think that's reasonable. And it's certainly something we can work with and make live again.
The coolest bit of battered vintage item that I've found has sold for £20, and I will shake your hand, Matt.
So Catherine's can gets a new life as an MP3 dock, and she pops £12 into her profit pot. Meanwhile, Phil's travelled to the bright lights of London in search of his next buyer, and he's feeling rather grand.
I'm outside the Houses of Parliament. Now, this has nothing to do with the fact that my parents christened me Philip Martin, or PM Cyril, and everything to do with the fact that I'm here to see railway buff, the Right Honourable the Lord Faulkner of Worcester, who will hopefully buy my little bits of railway memorabilia.
PM Foxy. Now there's a thought.
Now, Lord Faulkner, everyone knows that your daytime job is Deputy Speaker in the House of Lords. But what I bet all the people at home won't know is that you are a published authority on railway heritage, correct?
Yes, that's true.
So I've got a feeling that I'm going to show you these two little books that I bought, and you're going to tell me more about them than I already know.
I'll try. Well, Phil, these are very, very interesting and iconic
Really?
little books, yes. I mean, they are among the very first spotter's guides produced by a company called Ian Allen.
Yeah.
And Ian Allen, in the years immediately after the war, saw that there was a demand for people who wanted to know what was running on the railway. If you're a collector of railway memorabilia, then these should be on your shelves.
Are these plentiful?
No.
Are there tons of them around?
No, I haven't seen pre-nationalisation ABC guides before.
Sounding good. Time to go for a big price then.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I paid for them. They cost me £5, £2.50 each.
I'm not sure you should have told him that, Phil.
Would you like to buy them?
Oh, I would please, yes.
And the next question is, whatever you care to offer me, I will accept, because I know you're a fair man, and
Well, I'll offer you a tenner for them, certainly.
You're a gentleman. Thank you very much indeed.
He may have doubled his money, but that's just a £5 profit. Did the fox make a schoolboy error by admitting the purchase price?
It's not all about the money. I'm really pleased because in that instance, I sold those to a man who's clearly an enthusiast, and that's just great.
Well, if you're happy, then we're happy, Phil. And that's his second sale done and dusted. Across the country, Catherine the Great is on her way to the pub.
Well, here I am at the George Inn in Somerset, Northern St Philip's, and it's still here, which is fantastic news. I'm hoping to sell my lovely engraving to not only the owner of the pub itself, but the owner of the brewery. I think he might rather like it.
She bought the picture along with another for a total of £8. Time to unveil it to owner Charles.
Here we go. This is the moment. I think you will recognise what you're seeing.
Yes, absolutely. Isn't that lovely?
It has a tremendously long history. Can you start me off where it began?
Well, it was certainly an alehouse in 1397, but it's also famous for the Monmouth Rebellion in 1685, when Monmouth brought his rebels up against James II, and reputedly he actually got shot at through the window there.
Can we see that in this?
Yeah, that's the one. It's the north. It's one of the oldest, which is that one there.
Oh my gosh! And it all happened in that room.
That room there.
If it was just an engraving without the signature, I'd think of it slightly differently. But because it's actually signed by the artist and it's such an exquisite engraving, I'd like to, I suppose, open my bidding, so to speak. It sort of 200, 220, that sort of price mark.
I would perhaps pay £100. 100.
Can I edge you up a little bit?
Well,
120?
130.
£130, and thank you. I'm just delighted to have ended the journey here and brought you a piece of history.
That is a fantastic result. She then goes on to sell the remaining picture in an online sale for just over £5. And after taking out postage and fees, makes a total profit of £122.60 for the two. So that's 2 sales each to our battling bounty hunters, but Catherine's taken the lead with the profits. Back in Worcester, Phil's next sale has him hot under the collar.
I bought this a long way from home, and that was fine. But now I'm wandering around my hometown, holding a thing for displaying another thing that covers ladies' bits. Beginning to feel just a little bit, well, people are looking at me.
Oh dear, now red-faced fox skulks around the streets, trying to stay incognito. Finally, he makes it into a vintage shop and hurries in for cover with owner Linda.
I have severely been embarrassed today, because I have been walking around the streets of Worcester with this. I mean, Anyway, so how old do you think that is?
I would say it's sort of perhaps 40s, 50s.
Really? It's clearly missing something here.
Yes.
And I'm thinking it would have had a banner across there that would have said
Advertising them, maybe.
Burley or Playtex or whatever. And I was thinking that, see, this is where you've got to be creative in my business. I was thinking that you could have your shop name put across there, couldn't you? Yeah. And as handled by Philip Serrell across the bottom. I thought that might be a selling feature.
Really?
I'd like to try and get as close to 60 quid as I could.
£40, I would say, was quite a nice price.
What about if we sort of met somewhere in the middle? Would that be... Do you
Perhaps we could do that. 'Cause it would be a nice piece in the window. People do love to look in my window.
I'd walk past it all the time. So 50 quid?
Yeah.
You're an angel.
Phew, that's £35 profit, but I think our blushing auctioneer is just glad to be shot of it. So while Phil heads home to recover, let's have a peek at the figures. Phil has sold 3 of his 5 buys and banked himself £110 profit. Catherine's only sold 2 items but is out in front with £134.60 in her profit pot. So, it's a close-run race so far, but with plenty of items left to sell, there's everything to play for. Catherine's next target is her bowling-themed weather vane. She's managed to track down a bowling club in Surrey who haven't already got one. But will Club Secretary Stewart play ball?
When I walked up, I noticed there was one thing missing on this brand spanking new clubhouse. It's a weather vane. I have to show you this because, personally, I was totally drawn to it because of that sort of interwar feel. So it's sort of 1930s, I think.
That is really very good.
Yes.
Excellent. And it would be rather nice to put on the end of our pavilion there, wouldn't it?
Stuart, I suppose it comes down to the price.
I think it does, yes.
I'm looking for something in the region of £40, £45, that sort of price range.
I was thinking of 30. The fact is that it's a bit smaller than I would have liked.
It may be small, but it is perfectly formed. Would we be able to negotiate perhaps a £35 finishing point?
I think we could do that.
Let's shake on 35.
Shake on 35.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, at just a £5, that's Catherine's smallest profit yet. But she doesn't seem to mind and jumps at the chance of a game.
Have a go.
Oh, my God.
Yes, that's good. You're a natural.
Oh.
So you've got the winner at the moment.
Oh.
Ooh, you're not supposed to do that, but it's going to be close. Wow.
Who knew our great lady was a budding bowler? Is there no end to her talents?
Well, that was a great way to make a little bit of profit. And I've come away with a membership form to join the bowling club.
Yes, no time for that now. Our budding sportswoman heads off to bank some more cash when she sells her collection of vintage tablecloths to food writer Sam as a prop for her photo shoots.
I think I could certainly make use of these in the shoot.
At £25, they make her a tasty £20 profit. Catherine is in the lead with 4 sales to Foxy's 3. But in Worcester, Phil's popped down the road to a local menswear shop as he's had a bright idea about those football boots.
Now, these boots, they are really, really old, but not as old as my tailors because they've been in Worcester since the 18th century, and I think these are going to look great dressing their window. Just hope they think the same.
Having paid £50 for them, will Phil be able to volley his profit into the back of the net?
Have a look.
Wow.
They're archaic. I was thinking of getting a felt tip and just put S. Matthews on the bottom of it.
Do we know how old they are?
Well, I don't know. I think they might be in sort of 1930s.
And we're probably looking at these as being good for the window, do you think?
Well, that's what I was thinking. I think they'd look great in one of your windows with some, I don't know, colourful socks coming out of them or whatever. So I can't go too far because I get a job here as a window dresser and that's, you know, just too busy.
No,
are they of interest to you?
I think they could be. Yes, they could be.
I'd like to try and get as close to 120 quid as I could for them.
I am a retailer.
I'm not sure where this is going
Well,
now, but I've got a
that means
feeling it means I'm not going to get 120 quid. That's what
Possibly.
I think. Yeah,
Possibly. If we talked about £100.
If you talked about £100, I'd shake your hand.
Would you?
Yeah, I would.
There you go.
That's a Premier League score for our star striker, netting him £50 profit. And with one item left to sell, Phil heads to Lincolnshire to meet retro junk dealer Jack. He's taking what he thinks is his unique tannoy speaker, hoping to make some money to shout about, but only to discover it's not so unique.
Jack, that's the same.
These were rare last week.
Yeah, and this week?
This week, not so good.
But I don't know what you think, Jack. I always find these things sell better in pairs, don't they?
Yeah, sometimes.
So that's about 1950s, and it's been a PA system. Who would be the buyer for these, then?
Film props, probably. Just decorative.
Well, Jack, are you going to buy it off me?
How much do you want for it?
I was thinking it was worth 100 quid.
Yeah. You have got a very vivid imagination, Phil. I'd go...
Let me just stop you.
Yeah, go on then.
I know you are a very fair man, right?
Right.
You just make me your best offer and I'll take it.
Yes, because that strategy works so well with the railway books.
£75, Phil.
You're a gentleman, Jack. I said I'd take
Good.
it. Just a question now. How much is that one?
125, I suppose.
Jack.
This one's not so good because it's no...
Shut up, Jack. Shut up.
Now, manners. It's a final £35 profit and our fox scampers over the finish line.
Well, that's me sold up, and I've almost doubled my money on that. Can you hear me, Catherine?
She's hundreds of miles away in London, Phil. And if the bra stand made our fox blush, it's a good thing he isn't here for this.
Well, I've come to London to the Hippodrome Casino to meet its founder, Jimmy Thomas. They put on loads of burlesque shows, and I think this feather burr could be just the thing for them.
Remember, it cost our fashionista £20 to buy, and after a sneak preview of the show from dancer Polly Ray, it's time to talk business.
I have brought you something that I think will be just the ticket for Miss Polly Ray to wear in her next show. What do you think of that?
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm longing to put it on you. Does it? You see, there we go.
I want to go home in it.
Oh.
Beautiful.
I found it at an antiques fair, and I think it's post-war, and it's made from cock feathers, so they have that natural iridescence with them.
She would love it, so she would dance in that.
When I bought it, I just thought it has to go to the best burlesque dancer in the world.
Well, she is #1 in London.
So in terms of price, I'm going to start high and be ambitious here, but I'm thinking around about £100 and see what happens.
Well, let's say for Polly, I'll pay £100. It's beautiful.
Shall we shake on that? Or shall we shimmy on that, I should say?
Why not?
She's done it. So Catherine dances over the finish line with £80 profit.
You're missing out, Phil.
If only he knew. That's both our experts sold up, but who'll be on the winner's podium? And who'll be left for dust? Let's first remind ourselves of what they spent at the fair. Both our experts took £750 of their own money to Donington. Phil bought 5 items and spent £190. Catherine also bagged herself 5 items, but spent a titchy £71. But now it's all a matter of profit and selling prowess. All of the money that Phil and Catherine have made from today's challenge will go to the charities of their choice. So let's find out who is today's Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is champion.
Hi, lovely.
Well, this is a sporting entrance from you.
How are you?
Well, the checkered flag should be waving. I had such a nice time. How about you?
I loved it. Let's talk about the experience. What was the best bit for you?
The best bit for me was being in the Hippodrome and watching the most amazing burlesque show.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't ask me to come.
Well, you see, you were busy doing something else. What were you busy doing?
Country boy goes to London. I got to sell something to the Deputy Speaker of the House of Lords.
Really?
Outside the House of Parliament, Big Ben, doing a sale.
You and your friends. Goodness me,
well,
what a
come on,
context
times
list.
tells. Let's have a look.
OK.
Who's going to count?
3,
2, 1, go!
Oh, gosh! I did not expect that at all.
I'm really pleased for you.
Come on, let's go and, yes, celebrate.
So Catherine walks away the winner after an impressive display of treasure hunting and profit pioneering.
It's all about what you buy and not how much you spend. Remember, Phil, I spent half of what you did, but I made that little bit extra profit.
They say that winning is habit forming. Well, in this instance, so is losing.
But Phil gets another chance at the top spot tomorrow when they head to a car boot sale in Sussex.
Wheeling and dealing from Manchester to Liverpool next on BBC Two. It's the Antiques Road Trip. Then brain teasers at tea time. Play along with the celebs in Richard Osman's House of Games here at 6.
Hello, mate.
Hello, mate.
Look at this. You could not believe that this was right.
Former soldier Adnan Sarwar discovers the beauty of a country he first saw during conflict.
Welcome to Baghdad!
Journey in the Danger Zone, Iraq. Starts Sunday at 8 on BBC Two.
What does it take to create a smash-hit restaurant business? Great food? Certainly. Great people? Most definitely. But first, you need a great idea.
If I was to invest, it'll take £500,000 to £750,000.
We've quit our jobs to pursue
Quit
this.
your job.
We are not going to leave without an investment.
They have 1 hour to come through this door and make you an offer.
£1 Million Menu continues tomorrow at 9 on BBC Two.
Springwatch continues tonight. Don't miss the latest Nest Box news.